Good day, everyone. We are Team Voltes 5 with our research title, The Influence of Family Structure to the Psychological Well-Being and Academic Performance of High School Students. I am Zeus Tesoro.
Banal.
I am Brandt Loayon.
I'm Lorenzo Borlaza.
And I'm Franco Moreno.
So, here is the overview of the presentation. Introduction. Family members, including parents, grandparents, and siblings, significantly impact an individual's character, well-being, and functionality. Family environments vary, leading to varying levels of wellness and social problems, which can affect academic performance. Family structures dictate behaviors and influence psychological well-being. Inadequate or excessive family control can lead to poor academic performance and decline in psychological well-being. Now, for our variables, first we have the predictor variable. The family type of which a student lives in is within this category because of its effects on the way they are raised, treated, and supported. This adds into account the type of emotional dynamic the students have with other family members. The different types of family structures are nuclear, which consists of the parents and their children, single parent, where there's only one parent, extended, which is the nuclear family with other members such as uncles, aunties, or grandparents or cousins, grandparent families, where the parental figures are that of the grandparents, not the biological parents of the child. And then we have adoptive, which are families that have adopted children, so they're not blood related, or step families, which are families where the parents, either of the parents, got remarried. Moving on, the first criterion variable is the academic performance of the, please go back. Yeah. So moving on, the first criterion variable is the academic performance of the students. Here, self-esteem and responsibilities given to them or entrusted to them by their families' expectations put a psychological burden on students that mostly affects their capacity for thinking critically, consequently affecting school performance. The second criterion is psychological well-being of the student. Mental health is critical for the basic self-expression and day-to-day socialization and interaction with others. This is especially true between one individual and their family, which leads to many influences via their relationships, treatment of one another, and their perception of one another. This leads to the development of the psyche, which reacts to these interactions, which can lead to either positive or negative impacts towards their mindset and character that will dictate their psychological well-being. Moving on to the frameworks. This is the framework of the study. So for the theories, we have the social cognitive theory by Dr. Alfred Bandura, made in 1986, is used. So it states that the behavior of an individual is affected by their experiences, knowledge, skills, and social factors, among others, in the same realm of concept. Components of the human mentality, such as expectations, motivations, capabilities, and confidence play majorly in this theory. The social cognitive theory revolves around the concept of interactions between people, or is commonly known as reciprocation in the research scene. Next is Don Elger's theory of performance, or TOP, is also used along with Alfred Bandura's SCT. This theory states that its structure is able to define the initial performance of an individual and also note the improvement or deterioration or performance over time based on 6 components that determine the individual's performance. Next, moving on to the conceptual framework, it starts with the predictor variable that emphasizes the 3 main areas affected by the family, which are education, health, and the environment. An example of these factors in play are the adequacy of Content within learning materials, state of the physical environment, the internal well-being of the student, both physically and most of all mentally, emphasized based on the fact that mental state is crucial for general performance, and the social environment the student lives in. Factors that are indicated here are dependent on the type of relationship each member in the family has at the moment. Hostility, mutuality, or neutrality are among those. Subjectively, subjective statements from the participants, grade 9 to 12 students inclusively, are to be garnered in order to provide the necessary information towards the context of the lives of the target population. Consequently, the predictor variables will then be the main cause of either the improvement or deterioration of the criterion variables. Both of these criterions are stated to be affected by the family type of the students because of the difference in relations with each other in the family that vary from student to student depending on their family structure. This is supported by the social cognitive theory where the expectations, capabilities, confidence, and motivation of the students are affected by their family's own concern and own expectations or demand, which creates a chance of possibly of the student misinterpreting genuine concern for hostility or the feeling of being insulted or discouraged, affecting their own behavior and psychological health. Elger's theory of performance is also at play here because of the significance of the three components present in the student's life. Components such as the context of performance, personal factors, fixed factors are under this theory. Context of performance pertains to the current state of the circumstance of the student while doing the task. Affected by an external entity, the student cannot control, like natural phenomena, internet accessibility, and psychological well-being.
Observations to the utilization of a survey questionnaire. Using multiple choice questions, dichotomous questions, checkboxes, some subjective open-ended questions, and Likert scale will be used. Participants shall be notified about the nature of the study prior to the prior to participating in the survey. Chosen sample size of 50 junior high school students and senior high school students spanning grades 9 to 12 is used. The sample is determined via the quota sampling method for its convenience to the large estimate population of students in the Philippines. The research is performed within the Philippines across the schools in their respective regions. Only those who currently live in the Philippines and have consented to give their consent to the survey are allowed to participate. Students from 19 schools in the Philippines participated in the study. The questionnaire comprised 5 sections covering consent, personal info, family structure, and insight, academic performance, psychological well-being. It was open for 2 weeks and closed promptly after the significant time limit. The survey underwent review by Mr. Lorenzo Borlaza, a survey specialist from the Quezon region. Educators, family members, school leaders, students, and future researchers will benefit. Educators, family members, school leaders, students, and future researchers with an interest in the topic will benefit from this study. Educators. The students equips educators to address potential issues stemming from students' familiar environments, enabling them to offer assistance and advice, fostering improvement academic performance, and mental well-being. The research, parents, or family. The research empowers parents to identify factors within their household affecting family dynamics, allowing for positive changes that can enhance both academic and extracurricular performance. School leaders. School bodies can take proactive measures to address family-related influence on students' performance, implementing programs to strengthen family bonds. The Department of Education can leverage the research results for further insights and initiatives. Students. Learners gain the ability to recognize and address feelings towards family, seeking counseling or resolving issues to improve academic performance and well-being, providing a valuable reference for students worldwide. Researchers. The study encourages ongoing research to update information, enabling, enabling corrections based on old data, observations, and studies. Future researchers can use this research for legitimacy, contributing to the betterment of education for learners and educators. The data collected within 2 weeks of the data collection phase yielded 43 responses, with 42 viable for analysis and interpretation. Despite not meeting the quota of 50 respondents, the large sample size provided diversity and variability in the research. This data collected to know the dominance of sexuality over the other population. In the table, in the table, 22 out of 42 respondents from the 42 out of 42 viable responses are female, while the remaining with the percentage of 47.62% are males.
For Table 3, the sample of the study consists of participants aged between 16 and 18 years old, with the least representation from those aged 15 to 19. There were no participants aged 14 or 20. This age range is significant for ensuring reliability by aligning respondents' age with their grade level and intellectual capacity. It also offers context for understanding family dynamics and treatment as respondents' ages justify their cognitive abilities. Table 4 shows the family's acknowledgement of academic success on the respondents' grades. Among the surveyed students, 80.9%, which is 34 out of 42, indicate that their family is acknowledge and appreciate their academic accomplishments. For Table 5, regarding the influence of parents' high expectations on academic performance, 52.4% of respondents noted a positive impact, indicating that challenging standards set by parents contribute to academic success. On the other hand, 19% expressed a negative influence, suggesting that excessive expectations may lead to stress and adversely affect both psychological well being and academic performance. Meanwhile, 28.6% stated that parental expectations had no observable impact, emphasizing the role of individual effort and external experiences beyond the family environment in academic outcomes. For Table 6, the data illustrates that students with a very high level of psychological well being predominantly belong to nuclear families, as indicated in the first group. In the second group, these students tend to achieve both excellent and average academic performance based on their recent school records. The data illustrates that students with a very high level of psychological well being predominantly belong to nuclear families, as indicated in the first group. In the second group, these students tend to achieve both excellent and average academic performance based on their recent school records.
These studies collectively propose that family structures play a significant role in influencing academic performance. The dynamics between family members and the prevailing atmosphere within the family directly impact a student's psychological well-being, subsequently affecting their academic achievements. These findings affirm the validity of prior students by Uwaifo 2008, Santos and others 2016, Singh 2003, and others within this sample. Students with moderately high psychological well-being, particularly in nuclear and extended family types, dominate the sample. Among these in nuclear families, students show varied academic performance ranging from excellent to fair. This unique trend exclusive to the moderately high psychological well-being segment implies an interconnectedness between students' psychological well-being and academic performance. It suggests a trade-off among spending time on psychological well-being, academic performance, and other predictors, potent- potentially explaining why outstanding academic performance isn't observed in other psychological well-being segments within the research sample. In this table, the students who have moderately low psychological well-being and their respective family type is shown like the other tables previously presented. In Group 1, the family types are listed as well as the label for the remaining sample who are not included in this segment of the data. Group 2, to the right, shows the level of performance the students within this psychological level segment attained in the academic year 2023. Starting with nuclear, it can be seen that students with average academic performance dominate within the nuclear category. Following, following these students is the only student who received an excellent rating of academic performance despite having moderately low psychological well-being. Sorry. Next, it can be seen that only 2.38% of the sample, or 1 out of 42 of the viable responses collected, had a low score of psychological well-being and comes solely from the nuclear. His or her academic performance is adequate given it is average. Notable statements can be made for this section, such as that the data acquired for the academic performance in this psychological well-being segment is insufficient, that a probable conclusion cannot be met without bending the parameters of the research or the data given. The table above is structured to show the totality of the responses in each subtopic. The Spark survey was reproving to characterize in the table above. The category autonomy received an alternative hypothesis suggesting that the averages of the answers from the question under the subtopic of Spark have varies, and the variances within the responses in said subtopic is not equally distributed. For the other 5 subtopics, they have a null hypothesis because the answers are all accurate or closely related to each other. For the significance of the subtopics, all show an equal designation of being significant based on the calculations made. Due to every subtopic datasets, being significant, it can be said that the data above recorded within table 28 indicates that the responses received from the Spark survey is accurate and determines that the trends present among the sample is justified and therefore can be used for the analysis of the effects of family structure to the academic performance and psychological well-being of students in the Philippines.
For the research questions, research question 1. So the nuclear families tend to have children who most excel in academics come from nuclear families. So extended families and single parent families. So basically, most of them come from these three family types. So analyzing the data above further from table 29 to table 33 referenced in the research paper, it can be seen that despite these three family structures being the trend in having the most academically achieved children, it still can be said that the family structure of the students affects their academic performance slightly and not as largely as anticipated. Even still, the socioeconomic standing, family climate, relations, and ascribed responsibilities of the student within the family does still affect their academics in multiple ways. One, affecting the student's motivation in pursuing his academics based on the relationship of both parents or family members, giving the student a sense of accountability that might either affect him or her positively or negatively. Depends whether the relation between the parents or the family members is healthy or not. Two, the financial situation of the family that in turn affects the accessibility of the students to the demands of education, such as books, laptops, tuition, etc. Three, the involvement of the family with their child's education and personal endeavors. And four, the academic performance because of the power they have to put their plans into action. The parents' control over the children affects the level of autonomy the child receives, which in turn affects their academic and other life aspects, may not as largely as anticipated, although it does affect them. Moving on to research question number 2. According to the conclusive data summary that consists of table 34 to table 38 in the research paper, the psychological well-being of the students affected by their family structure, depending on the relationship of the family members in the family, is significant in determining the psychological well-being of an individual. Looking at the data in the tables indicated previously, students who come from nuclear, single-parent, extended, and step families tend to have moderately high to very high levels of psychological well-being. This suggests that the majority of these families exhibit a positive bond with each other that complements the autonomy of the student, their work ethics, and their motivation in life. This connection keeps their mentality healthy. Families who have adequate levels of psychological well-being have a good socioeconomic standing, it has been found, good connections with each other, or if not, both of these. Have either one of the aforementioned things to compensate for the lack of the other. Observing the other groups in the sample with lower levels of psychological well-being, it can be deduced that nuclear and extended families are present. Students who come from extended families have a moderately low psychological well-being, while for those who live in nuclear families, 3 have a moderately low level of well-being, and 1 have low level of psychological well-being. One has a low level of psychological well-being. What this suggests is that the psychological well-being of the students in these family structures, most notably the nuclear category, have the largest effect compared to any other family type. This is presumably because of the image projected by the family members on the student due to societal norms and the culture of the Filipino family. Due to this, the climate of the family, when tense, affects the students greatly due to the aforementioned level of accountability the student has for their respective family members.
Engaged families can have a significant impact on their child's psychological health, especially when it comes to personal growth. A family with sufficient financial resources can foster a healthy psychological atmosphere. A child's sense of self and identity can be enhanced by a loving familial setting. Certain students from families with frequent fights or strained relationships, even those from nuclear families, can create an undesirable psychological environment exacerbated by financial difficulties and lack of support. To improve the research, we have provided 12 recommendations. The research conducted on nuclear families has faced several challenges, including a lack of non nuclear families due to underrepresentation of the target demographic and insufficient data collection. Researchers noted that over 3 over 4 of participants were from nuclear households affecting family structure. So, for the first recommendation, there should be communication between the general population and researchers. Improved communication efforts should be made to communicate research findings in a clear and comprehensive way. Second, the researchers struggled to gather additional data in time, resulting in underrepresentation and unmet goals. Long term data collection is crucial for thorough research, allowing researchers to understand the implications of the study questions. Third is careful planning. It is crucial for achieving success in any endeavor, as it provides a well structured path for decision making, resource allocation, and deadlines. This approach minimizes setbacks, boosts productivity, builds team members' self esteem, and fosters a productive work environment. Fourth is commitment. It is crucial for the success of research projects as it ensures researchers remain persistent and committed to their research. This dedication fosters a work ethic that values diligence, focus, and perseverance, leading to dependable outcomes. It also fosters teamwork and shared commitment to understanding. Fifth is further research. Due to the lack of time, the researchers weren't able to collect much data on the relationship between family structure, psychological health, and academic achievement, which could be beneficial if we had. A longitudinal study using qualitative methods like case studies or interviews could provide detailed insights. Socioeconomic and cultural influences on family dynamics could also be explored. Addressing the negative impacts of family configurations on students' academic performance could help create more effective solutions. Sixth, the research should ensure every individual involved in the research understands the terminology and criteria in order to conduct a comprehensive literature review to comprehend the available research on the subject. Seventh, determine the gaps in scientific literature that you and your research can fill. This will assist you in developing a robust theoretical and operational crucial variables such as educational achievement and socioeconomic status in structure for your research. 8. Create a conceptual framework outlining the connections between socioeconomic position and academic performance. This will guide the design and analysis of your research. Consider conducting a mixed methodology study that blends both qualitative and quantitative methods. Ninth, create a survey tool to gather quantitative information about academic achievement and socioeconomic status. Ensure that the survey is straightforward and unbiased, and that it is pilot tested to discover and address any concerns. Consider including numerous factors for analyzing socioeconomic status, such as parental schooling, job, financial status, and household amenities. This provides an increased understanding of the students' economic backgrounds. 10th, conduct longitudinal research if possible to track developments in academic achievement and socioeconomic situation over time. 11th, Collect qualitative data. Conduct qualitative telephone interviews or focus discussions with parents, educators, and pupils. Investigate issues such as support from family members, resource access, and opinions of how schools operate. Make sure your research follows ethical guidelines, particularly if you are dealing with classified data like socioeconomic status. Lastly, obtain informed permission from participants and maintain participant confidentiality. To ensure the liability of your research design and methods, speak with expert researchers, statisticians, and educators.
Here are our references. Please feel free to browse through them. Once again, we are Team Voltes 5. I am Zeus Tesoro.
I am Kath Banal.
I am Brandt Loayon.
I'm Lorenzo Borlaza.
And I am Franco Moreno.
That is all for now. It has been quite a ride with you all. This is Team Voltes 5. Thank you for your time and have a great day.